Hi, this is Scott DeCamp of MLive here with Cory Olsen. We're at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where Western Michigan lost to Wisconsin 24-16 in the Cotton Bowl. It was a game where Wisconsin jumped on them early, 14-0 first quarter. Western really got off to a slow start. Not sure what was behind that, but they kind of fought their way back and made it a game. So, I mean, what are your initial takeaways from this, Cory?
You know, Western has traditionally been a slow starter on defense in the first half quite a bit this season, with the exception being their last two games with Toledo at home and then at the MAC championship game against Ohio. Seems like they came back to a little bit of their old ways in the first quarter, but I was really impressed with how they turned it around in the second quarter and were able to start making those stops on Wisconsin's run game.
Yeah, speaking of that Wisconsin run game, coming into the game, you're thinking that's the one big area. At least for me, when I was watching in the Western games I've seen this year, it really stuck out a little bit a few times with the run defense. Struggled in some games, like the Toledo game, especially, and so going into this one, you're like, Wisconsin, they're known for that, but actually, I think Western held its own there. The bigger problem was the tight end, especially passing game, but especially the tight end with Troy Fumagalli, and how much of a problem was he for the Broncos today?
Well, he was a big problem. I think that his size played a big factor. They had one of their most athletic people on him, Darius Phillips, but Darius is 5'10", and Troy is a big dude. He's 6'6", 245 pounds. He's a mountain of a man to have to deal with, and I think Darius did an okay job against him. But there's those key plays that he was able to pull down for touchdowns, and they just didn't have a shot against him.
Another one of the, I guess, somewhat interesting components of this game was a former Western commit burning them with a big interception. T.J. Edwards, who was committed in the class of 2014, ended up decommitting, going to Wisconsin. Well, he makes a game-changing interception, giving the ball Wisconsin on the 12, and at that point it was a 7-point game, 17-10. And 3 plays later, Wisconsin scores, goes back up 2 touchdowns for the first time since the first quarter. And Western drove down and scored, pulled within 8, but they just couldn't. Wisconsin put it away from there. So how big of a play was that, and how big was he in this game?
Well, just a huge play. He made some other plays during the game, but nothing that spectacular. The challenge is that Coach Fleck said in the post-game interview that one of the best things that they did to get to this point, they weren't able to do today, and that was the problem with turnovers. And I think they put the ball on the ground 3 times, although they didn't lose it on fumbles. But that one interception by Zach Terrell, when he's standing in his own end zone throwing the ball, just huge. If that happens, in the red zone, in the other red zone, probably not that big of a deal, other than they didn't score. But when it happens in your own red zone, 3 plays later, they put it in, and that's really it.
What was Fleck's tone after the game? I didn't get a chance to see his press conference because I was in the WMU locker room and then over in the Wisconsin locker room getting individual interviews. But what was his tone?
Coach Fleck was very emotional, but not overly so. I think he understood the loss and what happened and why it happened. But he also was very fine with taking the blame for the loss in a way, like he said that our team is going to take credit for everything we do, not just the good things we do. And I think that's a good lead from the front kind of mentality for him to take, and especially when his team hears those words from him, that look, the good and the bad, we will take responsibility for both.
He has a wonderful season, 13-1. It would have been incredible with a 14-0 season, but I mean, just simply the exposure that this program got, being in the national spotlight, college game day, I mean, just so many things, and playing on this big stage today. I mean, how can the program build off this, do you think?
I think the biggest thing is going to be recruiting. To see them on the national stage, a New Year's Six Bowl. There's people, all across the Midwest, I'm sure, watching this game and saying, hey, the Broncos held in there with the Badgers today, and everybody thought they were going to get blown out. And so to be able to keep it within 8 and to battle back after a really challenging first quarter where they went down 14-0, it helps recruiting. And Coach Fleck said the same thing. He said, this will be a great recruiting tool in addition to the whole season in the MAC championship.
Well, that'll be it from us from Jerry's World. That's Cory Olsen. I'm Scott DeCamp. And continue reading MLive.com/Broncos for more coverage throughout tonight and into tomorrow. Thanks.